Radio Paul here, and I'd like to talk to you about what is effective in fighting Scientology. The first thing I'd like to add is that anything you do that brings light to an organization that does not like to have eyes on it is effective. So I would value any feedback at the end of this video on what you think is effective in challenging Scientology. Here are some observations that I have that I think are effective. The first is probably what I think is one of the most effective is the stress test table takedowns. There is no question whatsoever that when people show up, that crowds clear out and Scientologists get upset. This is a source of income for Scientology, and it also is an opportunity for people to expose the hypocrisy. You may not be able to get somebody out of Scientology, but you surely at these locations can keep people from getting suckered in. Another thing that I find very effective is reading directly from Church of Scientology literature. Dianetics is another example of a great way to end a conversation with a Scientologist. Take a look at the videos of Dan Mernon. There's a great one where he goes on and on and on about Scientology helps people and you don't want us to help people. Scientology helps people and you don't want us to help people. The minute that Dianetics comes out and the individual starts reading from that book, Dan starts running around like a chicken with his head cut off. This is not an exception, this is the rule. Anytime that I see people pull out Dianetics and start quoting homophobic remarks, the Scientologist member simply wants to end the conversation. This tells you that you're hitting on a raw spot. This is definitely an effective tool. Reading from things like the recent newspaper articles out of Florida are also effective. Remember, the Church of Scientology members have been told that they can't read this paper. They can't have access to this information. I would love for someone to have a copy of this and keep pointing it at the camera every time they're trying to videotape us. Someone should stand in front of the camera with a copy of that newspaper or like literature. The issue there, especially if you're reading, they're going to have to shut the volume off if they ever review the tape because they're not allowed to listen to it. So now they won't be able to watch it. I think that's effective, is that whatever's in their lens has to be something that they can't crawl away from. The last thing I would like to cover is probably going to be the most controversial one. I think the images of Lisa McPherson are extremely powerful. And I don't like the idea of exploiting Lisa or what happened to her. Certainly we're not making money from it. God knows Scientology cleaned her out. However, I would love to see a 20-foot banner with her pictures on it, or people wearing images of her on their t-shirts with signs that say things like, "This is what Scientology does to people." The truth of the matter is they did that to her. They own that. They're responsible for it. They shouldn't be allowed to crawl away from it. It should be ever present, if not in their minds, in their faces. And any other victims that they have created. Now that's one that I can tell you again, the minute that the Lisa McPherson stuff starts coming out, people start scattering like cockroaches when a light comes on. So, yes, they want to be members of the human race. They want to interact in public. Then they need to start to learn how to deal with the public. And I would value your feedback as to what you think is effective, new ideas, new tips. I don't believe that we should standardize anything. I think it's the individuality that Scientology has not been able to cope with. But I think some of these things would be good if people were to focus on them and develop them and bring their own ideas in to how to combat this dangerous cult. Thank you.